All right, beautiful people, we are back for another one. Okay, guys, we're gonna have fun with this one. I got my very good friend Stefan all the way from the Ukraine, baby. And what we're gonna do today is, you guys have been seeing a lot of brushbacks. Now, I wanna show you how to do a brushback with a layered technique. You guys have seen me do this through graduation. I'm gonna show you how to do this through layered technique. Now, because I've been doing this for such a long time, I could do layered technique within 30 minutes as well. But a lot of the times people struggle to do it this way, overhand, than trying to do graduation. Graduation usually will be always quicker to do than layers. It's a lot more awkward and harder to do initially, but I want to show you guys how to do this in the most efficient way, and it's going to yield a very similar result, because how I'm going to do this technique is technically still going to be graduated. Because what we don't understand is when we create a square shape through a layer, that means when I pick it up like this, right, so it's going to be square off the head, technically this area, right, that I'm doing this on is still being graduated because the lengths are being pulled downwards. Again, this might not make sense right now as I'm saying it, but as I do it, I'm gonna get you to visually understand it, and that's when it's gonna click in. So Stefan, before we do this, let's actually role play a real raw consultation. Stefan, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great.
Stefan, what do you like about your hair?
Well, that I have hair.
Yeah, unlike most people. That's step one.
And I guess color.
Color, okay. Can't touch that. Won't be able to touch that anyways. Don't even know how to do color. What else? What about the length? How do you feel about the length?
I don't know. Never asked me.
No one's ever asked you that? Great, well, you're in great hands, my friend, because that's the number one question I would ask. So, but let me ask you this. Let's try to think. Do you like the length? What do you like about the hair right now? When you style it, is it easy for you, hard for you? Do you like how it looks? How do you typically style it? What can you say to me about that?
Jesus Christ, guys.
I'm a doctor, my friend. I have to dissect the problems here.
I trust you. You can just...
You don't mind? You're carte blanche, as they say? Pretty open book?
Yeah.
Okay. I need an answer for this, though. What aren't you happy about them? Nothing? Zero. Okay, cool. Now, let me have a look. Do you mind?
Sure.
Well, this isn't usually what happens. Usually most clients have a lot to say, but sometimes that could be too vague of a question, so we could go more specific, right? And how I'm gonna do this, obviously I'm gonna go through it, I'm gonna look at the hair, I'm gonna analyze it, and then I'm gonna be a lot more specific with the questions. Guys, this is actually a great example right now. Again, this was super raw, unscripted. Client tells me I don't know, and he's an open book. Truthfully, 99.9% of the time, when someone tells you I'm an open book, do whatever you want, guys, for the love of God, please don't give them whatever you want. They just haven't been able to actually answer what they want. So you need to be way more specific in regards to your questions, because it was up to me and I could do whatever I want. I could go with a high skin fade. Next thing you know, it goes way too short, right? This is what I mean. And if it's up to me, then I could do a front fade crop. So this is why you have to be way more specific. Now, what do we know? Obviously, Stefan's come back with longer hair. What else do we know? Strong jawline, strong features, meaning this actually is extremely suitable. The last thing I actually would want to do is clippers. This has to be more maintained and more of a cleanup, in my opinion, than something that's going to go into clippers. Okay, so I'm not going to go short. I'm going to go with the route of maintenance, and I'm going to go with the route of just making this look better and easier for him to manage. Actually, how does that sound, Stefan?
It sounds great.
You see? Again, permission initially, suggestion after, and I'm just gonna tell him exactly what he needs to hear and exactly what I need to do. And Stefan, how do you feel now that I'm actually gonna go cut your hair? Do you feel confident? Do you think I know what I'm talking about? How do you feel right now? Be honest.
I feel I can trust you more even before I met you.
Voila, my friends, completely raw, unscripted. That is how you do a consultation. And there you go, let's get started. All right, guys, again, another thing I want to mention, first time doing this. Stefan's is a first time client, and typically he actually goes to China for haircuts. So I have to do my duty here and represent North America and really show them what we're about. So first step is bring everything back, and profile section down the middle. Again, we're gonna layer this so you guys are gonna understand. Profile section down the middle, split the right panel with the left panel. Get nice and clean. Again, everything we do has to be meticulous. Meticulous meaning very precise and very intentional, okay? Beautiful. I'm already noticing issues as I was combing the hair, so I have a very good idea of what needs to happen here, but you guys obviously don't, and this is why my job right now is really explaining this. Okay, profile down the middle is done. Split now from the sides. Let's come from here, top to the behind the ear. So what we call this, guys, apex to the radial. Radial is where the mastoid's at. Boom, right here, split that. Now we have two quadrants, okay? The one on the left and the one on the right. Bring everything forward, bada bing, bada boom. Bring everything forward just like that. Okay, this is dry. What does that mean? If it's dry, it's not gonna flatten up. That means I gotta use moisture, I gotta use water, and I gotta use tension. So, boom, boom, boom. At this point, again, everything that I do, I'm making it easy. If I'm here, look how easy it is for me to pull it this way. If I'm here, I have less tension because my body has to move this way. Okay, so everything you do has to be in correlation. Almost think of karate, right? Or think of jiu-jitsu. What do? They use their body as a way to distribute their weight. We do the same thing with hair. Okay, boom. Look how much easier it is. If you want, we could clip it, bada bing, bada boom. There you go. Now what do? Same process on the other side. Again, this process is gonna be a little bit longer because I'm explaining it, but in the salon, I'm actually able to do this in 20 minutes because I already have a system before I start, okay? Same process, everything comes forward. Look at that, nice and clean, nice and relaxed. Beautiful. I'm already identifying the issues. Okay, so now that both panels are done, I'm gonna split the top with the sides, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the comb, and now we're gonna use the clip for the back, okay? Now at this point, everything comes forward and we'll split that. Boom, there you have it. Okay, next step, again, everything comes forward, all the way to the front, drop it. Something that I want you guys to notice that's very important. Look at this part. There's a bit of a bounce. That means if I cut this, guys, this is part of the family of the top. So we're just gonna split this little triangle that you saw me do on the other side. And the reason why is because this is the area of the hair where it needs to be associated with the front. And if I cut that too short, it's gonna almost look like a mohawk. We still want some width because that's where we're gonna get the volume. So there we have it. We're gonna isolate that now. Use a pin, boom, easy peasy. Now we'll come back from the front, bring the head down, and we'll clip it all away. So now all the panels have been isolated. It's time to actually do the haircut. Step one is a vertical section from the middle, but before we even do that, guys, look and understand what's happening with the hair. If I pull this up, look at all these lengths and where they're sitting. Look how long this is. This is why you see such a flat, round shape, is because one, it's overgrown, but two, it's so heavy, it's actually not creating that shape that we want, which is somewhat of a square shape or slightly triangular. And the reason why is just because it's so long, it's just like building way too much weight and it's not complementing his look. So very simply, all we're gonna do is we're gonna go back from the middle and we're gonna go into a vertical line. And how we're gonna choose the guideline is very simply by looking at where the occipital bone is. And from there, we're gonna make a decision of how short we wanna take it. Okay, boom, straight down the middle, about a finger's width. I'm gonna pin this like this. I'm gonna bring it into our comb and we're gonna start from where the occipital bone is. We're gonna bring the head, yep, just like that, because we don't wanna build graduation. Body position is gonna be straight and voila, keep your head still. Beautiful. Okay, you see all that is excess weight that we don't want. I'm gonna cut this completely square. Okay, we're gonna make sure that, again, our body position is straight. We're gonna follow this line all the way through. Okay, that's section one. Again, nice and clean, guys. Again, I'm very focused right now. I'm focusing on the line. I'm focusing on the lengths that I'm cutting. I'm focusing on my tension. Okay, we're gonna split the middle now. because we have a guide. And most of the times what I notice is a lot of you guys probably do this and the hair is not wet enough, so it makes the job of actually sectioning way harder. Okay, so section 2 now, we've already split the middle. Okay, look at that. Middle finger's here. We're gonna split this, boop, this way. And then we're gonna come back from here, pinch, and follow the same exact process. Okay, come back from the middle, and we're gonna do the same thing, leading all the way towards this right side. And guys, last step here, notice how every time I cut, I'm making a step towards the rounder surface. And every time I'm cutting while being able to look at my guideline, okay? So this is what's gonna allow me to stay clean, meticulous, and further than that, allow me to just have control over the lengths that I'll be cutting. Beautiful, okay? We got the right side already done, and I wanna show you guys something. Look at the difference just by doing this technique, how the hair is already sitting, okay? So this left side, guys, is the area that we haven't cut. So if I brush it with my comb, look at how the hair wants to sit. It's way too heavy and it's lacking movement. Look at the difference between this left side with the lack of movement, okay? Way too heavy, the lengths are all kind of coming down, versus now, look at this right side. You see all that beautiful movement is just based at the fact that we did our layer, meaning that now it's going to be way easier for him to style and it's going to grow in way better as well. Cool, let's move on. Last section, guys, same process all the way through, but look at where I'm standing now. And guys, look how easy it is when you could see the guide, make your incision nice and clean, completely straight all the way through. Everything is thought out. Look at that, beautiful. And last section, okay, you see, look at that excess, beautiful. Look how clean that is. Nice and easy. We did that in 5 minutes. Haircut's pretty much done. Sides are usually the easiest. This is the thing that's going to take the longest. The back is usually the area that takes the longest because it's the area that has the most surface amount of hair, versus the top. Again, top is so easy. It's what we do every day. So the back is usually the thing that takes the longest, but it doesn't also mean just because it takes the longest, it's where you start. In this specific scenario, why I started in the back, guys, is because this was the biggest problem. This was the area where I had the biggest issue. What was the issue? It was way too long, way too overgrown. It was lacking shape. That is why this was my first step. All right, people. Cool. Now we move on. Sides, okay? So this is where we can make a decision. Can I cut this vertically? Absolutely. But which way will it be way easier for me to do this? What do you guys think? I think cutting this horizontally, still using elevation, would yield me the same results. But doing this is a lot harder than doing this. Now you're probably wondering, well, Alex, then why the hell did you do this up here? Well, because the biggest issue was the weight in the crown and the weight in the occipital. It's very difficult to figure out how much length I want to cut when I'm trying to control the length up here and the length at the bottom horizontally, rather than picking it up vertically and knowing exactly how much weight I want to remove. Look how easy it is when I pick it up vertically. It's the same process, but the difference is, guys, it's a lot easier now for me to pick this up horizontally because I know exactly what lengths we have through the back. And I can make a decision whether or not I want to connect it or leave it disconnected. That is why I'm going to cut this horizontally through the side. So we're going to wet it down first, we're going to brush it back, and then we're going to make our decision on the choice of length that we want. So step one, bada bing, bada boom. Brush it back. Nice and neat. Everyone following me? Great. Step one, place the head slightly towards against me. We're gonna go with a nice horizontal section. We're gonna drop it. And look how easy it's gonna be now for me to pick this up and make a decision on how much I want to cut. And I'm already noticing based on these lengths that the lengths in the front have already been cut short. So again, with hair, guys, you don't have to always cut it. We're always told to always remove length. But the truth is, if the lengths are good, then why the hell would you want to cut it? This is why you want to make sure that you're removing length in the area that are a necessity. And given the fact that here we have a lot more weight, I'm going to start with the back. And as I get towards the front, I'm going to leave it because these lengths are already short. I don't need to cut it anymore unless I want to go with a taper. So that's done. Step two, same process. Boom, drop it. Again, elevation. Why? Flat surface of the head. We're going to pick this up. Boom, drop it. Nice. Completely connected. Again, through this whole process, I'm completely parallel. Check the lengths, cut the lengths. Did I poke your eye out? Not yet. You good? Great. Step three, same process. Okay. At this point, we're slightly on a rounder surface. So what does that mean? Raise of hands if you think this is now going to be graduated or is it going to be layered. Raise of hands. Graduated or layered? Graduated. Layered. Right, graduation. Why? Because we still want to build that shape similar to the reason why we did it when it was towards the back. We wanted a square shape so it builds that weight. Okay, same process. Okay, slightly graduated back to previous. But again, my line is going to be round horizontally. Beautiful. Look at this. Look what's going to happen as I brush this towards the back. That, my friends, is called connection, movement, and a beautiful haircut. Again, slightly graduated up here. Bring this back to previous. With tension, nice and neat. Camera guy, nice and neat. You got to show them that we could see the guide before we make our incision. Look at that. Boom. Okay. Something I want to mention, because it's very important for you guys to know, is when I was doing this 5 years ago, I completely sucked at it. But these were the haircuts I really wanted to master. But how do you do that? Now, a lot of the times, you might not have clients that have this length because a lot of you guys are doing clipper work. But the truth is, the technique is very, very similar, even if you're doing a brush back with a fade, which 50% of the times you most likely will be. You're usually sometimes doing graduation coming backwards with the scissors and fingers or forwards. I would say majority is probably forward, but the technique is very, very similar. So reason why I'm saying this, guys, is because I want you to be very intentional now when you're cutting at the shop. The problem I tend to see is that because we have these habits that we've picked up from such a long time ago, we don't work on the new habits, the habits that are gonna be way harder for us to do initially, but are gonna yield the most return eventually. And how is because you're gonna be way more efficient and the haircuts are gonna look so much better and your clients are gonna be way happier about it, which then you could product services go up, money increases, right? So these are the things you gotta be a little bit more intentional when you're at the shop, especially because if you have a busy day or not, you still should be using this. So break out of those old habits and try these new things, because I promise you, yes, there's gonna be resistance initially because it's gonna be hard, but as you keep doing them, you'll just get so much better, and then you'll get really quick at it, and then you'll have happier customers and better Instagram pages, because that's everybody wants. Yeah. Cool. Okay guys, step one, same process all the way through. Look at that, nice and neat. Now we'll come from the top, straight into my finger. Boom. Step 2, same process. Drop it down. Again, we're using a layering technique. Bring this all up. Boom. Step 3, same process, slightly graduated now. Okay guys, so now that we've done the sides, we've done the back, it's time to do the top. And we do have a guideline. The reason why I'm going with a vertical section right now is because our guideline is gonna come straight from the actual back. Okay, so if I pick this up, let's do this. Look at that, we have a guideline straight from the back as mentioned. So we're gonna use that to connect the top now. There we have it. And we're gonna go with a nice square cutting line to reduce all that weight leading up to the front. Okay, so you guys are probably wondering, well, Alex, what are you doing here? Guys, very simply, I'm cutting vertically. Why? Similar to why I said I was cutting the back vertically is because I have way more control given that my guideline is from the back. And I can make a decision on how much weight I want to keep from the front to the back by just simply picking it up vertically. Now, the reason why I'm going horizontally is because I also am very aware that the sides are slightly shorter. So I want some level of connection, and how that's going to happen is by cutting this more round. And by cutting it more round, we're gonna have more fluidity, and it's gonna allow the shape to sit a lot better. And if there is anything to connect, there's not gonna be much left, and that's because the round shape will allow for more softness, and it'll allow for shorter lengths to connect and blend a lot easier with the sides. So guys, with that being said, there's 3 stages. You cut the sides, you cut the back, you cut the top. So you graduate the sides, you layer the back, and then you layer the top. The third most important step is the connection. Now, because this haircut is slightly on the shorter side, if I leave for more disconnection, it's gonna be very obvious. This is a haircut based on these lengths that require a little bit more connection, require a little bit more of a rounder shape through the top. So in this case, we're just cleaning up a little bit more through the corners here. And the last thing we're gonna do is just blend in the last length by just doing it round as well. All right. Look at how this is all already looking. Look at that. Guys, this is the thing, when you put such beautiful length, such beautiful shape into the hair, it doesn't require for product. I mean, the guy just looks like a supermodel, and we just barely did anything, right? We just cut some lengths, and look at how all this is sitting. This is gonna sit so well. It's gonna be so easy for him to manage because we reduced the weight through the side. We kept some of the length from the top, but he could also wear it like Leonardo DiCaprio. We could wear it more on the messy side, and it'll just look really, really nice. Again, we still have some connection to do. So very simply, we're gonna take it from the corner here. We're gonna drop everything. Again, nice and neatly, guys. We're gonna look at what is left to connect. Okay, right there, boom, slightly. I'm gonna leave that because there's a bit of a stronger growth pattern. We're gonna do the same on the other side. Pleasure doing business. Woo, beautiful. Okay, guys. Last step, my favorite step called personalization. Okay, we're gonna personalize it using the feather, clean up some of the nape. Again, very natural. I'm gonna blow dry this beautifully. We're gonna put a bit of moisture in his hair. I'm gonna send him off his way to go attract all these beautiful women in Toronto. Okay, at this point, we'll put a bit of paste. Again, why wet is because the product is made out of water. So when you apply it when it's wet, it sits within the roots. What tends to happen, guys, a lot of you guys put product when it's dry and it clumps the hair and it sits on top, and then you can't really style it because it's super clumpy. And then it becomes extremely dry. You need a little bit of that moisture for the hair to be shaped properly when it comes to blow drying it. A lot of you guys make such a massive mistake, and it's because at the end, when you put the product, it clumps it up, and all the shape that you put into the hair becomes useless because it becomes too dry, you can't see it, and it becomes fluffy, and no one wants fluffy hair, okay? So that's why you need to apply it when it's wet, and then you go and blow dry it after. So at this point, what I'm noticing is these lines, okay? So it's very important to go and soften them. And all we're gonna do, I'm gonna bring it all down first. We're gonna come from the top. We're gonna take it section by section. I'm gonna start with up here first, okay? You notice this to me is a heavy line. I cut it perfectly straight, but the issue now is that it's way too heavy given the fact that his hair is quite thick. So all we're gonna do is just reduce some of that weight and just soften some of that line. Okay, that's step one. Step two, same process. So, question I get asked all the time, well, Alex, how do you determine how deep of a section do you take to point cut this in? Very simply, I want you guys to understand something here. When I pick this up, if let's say I was to decide to, let's say, thin this area of the hair out, what would end up happening is this amount would create texture. So about ½ an inch always creates texture. What I want is to remove weight. Removing weight happens about 2 inches from actually where the line is. So understand, if you're trying to create texture, you want to be almost ½ an inch. When you're trying to remove weight, you want to be almost 1.5 inches to 2 inches. Okay guys, so this is my final look on Stefan, and as you guys could tell, we got such beautiful volume from the top. We reduced the weight through the sides. Extremely practical, extremely suitable. It's gonna have longevity, it's gonna go in beautifully. It's a tidy up with structure, and it's gonna be a lot easier for him to manage. So I hope you guys like this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.